Good evening, everyone. Before calling back on stage Kore-eda and Kang-ho, I'd like you to know that this year we are offering active listener for anyone who may require support after a screening. And the active listener can be accessed as follows all throughout the festival until September 18 at TIFF Bell Light Box on the 4th floor, and signage will be on site. And the hours available are from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And now please join me in welcoming back on stage the director of Broker, Kore-eda Hirokazu. And the lead actor of the film song, Kang-ho. Thank you. So before starting the conversation with the audience, I'd like to ask Kore-eda, what was the starting point for Broker, and what kind of story did you hope to tell through Broker?
まずは見ていただいてありがとうございました。最初に思いついたシーンは、教会に預けられたベビーボックスに預けられた赤ちゃんを二世神父のソン・ガンホさんが優しい笑顔で抱きかかえてみんなで幸せになろうなって言った翌日に売り飛ばしてしまうっていう、そういうワンシーンを思いつきまして、そこから物語を作っていきました。それが2016年、今から6年ぐらい前なんですけども、それが始まりです。
Well, firstly, thank you all for watching the movie. The first scene that came into my head was Song Kang-ho dressed as a priest, a fake priest, picking a baby up out of a baby box in a church, smiling sweetly at the baby and saying, "We're going to be happy together," and then the next day selling the baby. That was the first image that came into my head 6 years ago, 2016, and that's where the story started.
And then a question for Song Kang-ho. In the film, you play the role of a criminal, a broker in illicit child trafficking, but you're also very kind, very nice, very funny. What was it like to work with Kore-eda, and what are the differences between his way of directing and the way of directing of other directors you have been working with previously?
고레다 감독께서 이제 저를 생각하고 시나리오를 쓰셨다길래 굉장히 멋지고 굉장히 정말 매력적인 인물로 생각을 했는데 이렇게 이런 범죄자로 이렇게 생각을 하신 줄은 몰랐습니다.
I was excited at the idea of director Kore-eda writing a script thinking of me, but then alas, I'm just a criminal.
평소에 저를 어떻게 생각하셨는지 참.
I'm curious what he thinks of me in day-to-day life.
아무튼 고레다 감독님은 그 전작들을 보면은 걸작들이 참 뭐 여기 캐나다, 뭐 미국, 한국에도 많은 팬들을 가지고 계시죠. 그리고 고레다 감독님의 작품들을 너무 사랑하고 좋아하는 그 중에서도 팬으로서 늘 존경해왔던 분입니다.
If you look at director Kore-eda's body of work, there are many masterpieces, many of which have visited the Toronto Film Festival. And as a fan of his, I was very honored to finally get an opportunity to work with him.
그래서 작품들이 이렇게 참 그 침착하게 사회를 응시하고 침착하게 인물을 주목한다라는 지점이 굉장히 큰 힘을 느끼게끔 하는 그런 감독님이라고 생각합니다.
I think his films provide a perspective which is a very calm, settled look at society and character, and in that way I find his work very interesting.
네, 그렇습니다.
Okay. And now, do you have any questions? Yes, please. Oh, sorry. Afterwards. Yeah. Yes, please.
드리는 질문인데 다시 뵙게 돼서 반갑고 3년 전에도 뵀었는데 그때 인터뷰 때
Can you please speak up? It's very difficult for us to hear. Yeah.
배우님 영화를 쭉 다 봤는데 첫 영화 때부터 거의 매년 영화 한 편 혹은 두 편을 찍으시는데 어떻게 배우 연기에 대한 사랑을 유지하고 계시는지 궁금하고 벽에 부딪히는 느낌이나 피곤함을 느끼진 않으셨는지 궁금합니다. 또 질문이 있는데 다음 프로젝트가 TV 드라마라고 들었는데 처음 TV 드라마에 도전하시는 게 아닌지 왜 TV를 하게 되셨는지 궁금합니다.
TV
Well, I didn't quite get the first question. Can you please repeat it? Because sorry, I couldn't really hear you. I'm sorry.
So to repeat the question, she asked how he maintains his enthusiasm for acting all these years when he produces so many films. And the second question was asking about his new project, a TV drama, and about how it's his first time trying TV and his perspective on that.
Thank you so much. 사실은 TV 드라마에 대한 편견을 원래 가지고 있지는 않았어요. 뭐 TV 드라마는 안 하겠다 이런 건 없었는데 어떻게 이제 하다 보니까 이제 좋은 기회가 있어가지고 하게 된 건데, 근데 요 다음 작품은 또 다른 작품 영화가 있어요. 김지훈 감독님의 거미집이라는 영화가 있는데 그 작품이 먼저 이렇게 선보이니까 영화 팬 여러분들은 거미집을 많이 기대하시면 될 것 같고요. 드라마는 그냥 기회가 돼서 자연스럽게 하게 된 것 같습니다.
In terms of TV, I never in my career thought, oh, I'll never do TV. And it just came up as a good opportunity, and that's why I took it. But there is a film project that's coming out before the TV series, and it's a film called Cobweb by director Kim Ji-eun. So I hope that all of you will watch that as well.
Yes, please. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 外国語で作りたいというよりはソン・ガンホと仕事がしたいっていうことなんだよな。
It wasn't so much that I wanted to make a film in a foreign language, it was more that I wanted to work with Song Kang-ho.
ありがとうございました。
なので、次は日本で撮る作品があるんですけれども、また一緒に仕事がしたい、スタッフとかキャストがカナダにいればカナダで映画を撮ろうと思います。
My next movie is set in Japan, but after that, if there are actors, if there are crew that I want to work with that want to work with me in Canada, who knows, maybe Canada.
Yes, please. Back. Yeah, you. Sorry. Yes.
This one's for the director. How are you able to make the criminal characters in your movie so likable and realistic, like so many software?
どのようにしてもちろん最初から彼らをこう親しみを込めて描くわけではなくて、ペドナーという、ペドナーが演じたスジンという刑事の目線を通して、最初はすごく否定的に彼女は母親もブローカーたちも見ている、その目線に観客の皆さんも沿う形で映画を見始めて、2時間かけて彼らに少しずつ距離を近づけていくっていう、そういう目線が変化をしていくというのを縦軸にしようと思ったので、そういうふうに距離を少しずつカメラが車の中に入ると、そこで交わされている会話は僕らが外から想像しているものとは違うというような、そういう作りになるようにしました。ただ先ほどもお話ししたように、その中心にソン・ガンホという非常に両面持っている、明るいところ暗いところ、善と悪、陰と陽、正と俗っていうものを両義的に抱え込んでいて、それを表現できる役者が中心にいる、その存在の強さというものを頼りにして今回の物語は作りました。
Well, I think we don't start out feeling that close to these characters, but what I wanted to do with this film was that the audience may well start out empathizing with the detective, who is very critical of what these brokers are doing. We start with her, and then over the course of the 2 hours, I want the audience to gradually change their perspective and gradually find themselves moving closer to the brokers. By being right there in the car with them, they start to take a different view to what they might have had when they were looking in from the outside. But of course, as I say, at the center of all of this, you have Song Kang-ho. And his great talent is that he has these two sides to him. He has light and dark and right and wrong and good and evil. And he is someone who is able to depict both of these at the same time. And that's something that I relied on in this film.
ソン・ガンホさん本人はもう本当に太陽のような明るい方でした。
Song Kang-ho himself in real life is as bright as the sun.
Yes. Yeah, the lady here in front, finally, she raised her hand first. Well, the question is, what are the difficulties directing in a language that is not your own language?
演出をする難しさというのは、日本で言語は同じでも難しいことはたくさんあるので、韓国で撮ることの難しさは別にあるというふうに考えて、決して外国で撮ることだけが難しいというふうには捉えてないんですけども、やはり言葉が通じないということをどう乗り越えていくかということはいろいろ考えて、手紙をたくさん書いてみたり、現場のコミュニケーションを密に取るというのを心がけました。それは本当にソン・ガンホさんが僕が言葉自体がわからないことを踏まえた上ですごく丁寧にそのテイクごとのお芝居のニュアンスの違いみたいなものをすごく的確なアドバイスをしてくれた。それは撮影の現場でもそうでしたし、編集を見て意見をくれる、そのキャッチボールを本当に毎シーン毎シーンやることができたので、僕としてはとてもそれがいいアドバイスになりました。そういうふうに 多分監督、役者だけではないと思いますけれども、監督とスタッフキャストというのが言葉を超えて理解し合おうという気持ちがあれば多分超えられるのではないかなというふうに今回の作品作りを通して少し自信を持ちました。
Directing has its challenges for me, even when I'm working in Japan and we understand each other's language. So the challenges that I faced in Korea weren't all necessarily because we spoke a different language, but because I don't understand Korean, I did take particular care over communication on set. I wrote letters to everybody. And Kang-ho was very aware of the fact that I didn't understand Korean and was very careful to explain to me the nuances of his performance, both on set and during the editing process. And that back and forth that we had for every scene was really helpful. He gave me a lot of good advice during that. And I think through this process, I've come to realize and to have confidence that if everybody, if myself, if the actors, if the crew all have the desire to overcome these language barriers, then we can.
We only have time for one last question. So, over there, yeah.
Hi, my question is for Kang-ho. In this performance and many of your performances, there's a balance of really dark subject matter and physical comedy. How do you approach balancing that? And is the physical comedy something that you consciously rehearse, or is it one of the things that is done?
글쎄요, 어떤 일상이라는 것이 희노애락이라는 것이 나눠서 온다고 생각은 하지 않습니다. 항상 동시에 온다고 생각해요.
In day-to-day life, I do feel that happiness and sadness completely coexist.
그래서 그런 어떤 유머나 또는 어떤 진중함이나 다른 감정들이 순차적으로 계산이 돼서 나온다기보다는 아주 일상적이고 자연스러운 인간의 어떤 모습에서 자연스럽게 나온다고 저는 생각을 늘 해왔고 연기도 그렇게 임했던 것 같습니다.
So for me, this coexistence of humor and seriousness, it's not necessarily calculated or rehearsed, but because I feel like it's intrinsic to human nature, that's how I approach acting.
그러니까 제가 맡은 인물도 사실 딜레마에 빠져 있는. 그러니까 과연 내가 지금 나쁜 사람인데 또 나쁜 감정이 있고 마음이 또 나쁜 마음만 있는 게 아니잖아요. 그리고 또 좋은 사람처럼 보이지만 또 행위는 또 나쁜 일을 하고 있는. 그러니까 이런 모든 것들이 이 선악의 어떤 공존이 우리가 제가 맡은 캐릭터뿐만이 아니라 우리가 모두 살아가는 우리 모두의 이 사회에서의 딜레마가 아닌가. 그런 점에서 굉장히 중요한 지점이 아니었나 이런 생각이 됩니다.
I find that the characters I'm acting are always in a dilemma, whether they feel like they're a good person doing bad things or a bad person doing good things. I feel like this coexistence of good and evil always exists. And not only is this a dilemma for me and my characters, I believe that this is a dilemma that we all fall into as a part of society.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again for being here with us today in Toronto, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.